Hey, this is Peter from 2 Mic Minimum. Just a quick disclaimer, Sean's microphone for the very beginning had a little bit of an audio issue, but it's not a big deal. It's just for the first minute and a half. I'm just putting this out there because I don't want people to start the episode and think it just sucks. It doesn't. After like a minute and a half, the audio is going to get better. Bear with us. Everything will be fine. All the other parts are smooth and crisp. Anyway, I'm just going to throw this out there because I never throw it out there when we record in the beginning. If you are a comedian or are just active in a comedy scene in general and you have any funny stories from your local scene, please email them to us at 2micminimum@gmail.com. We'd love to read them on air, and if you're a comedian, we'll give you a shout out and promote a show you're doing for all our listeners. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Take care. Everyone, welcome to 2 Mic Minimum. Yeah, the comedy news that you don't hear about or care about, but we're going to make sure you hear it. Isn't that right, Sean? Yes, it is.
Gosh diddly.
Gosh diddly darn it is. We're so excited to be doing this podcast for you.
I'm in a good mood.
No, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. There's no sarcasm here.
I'm feeling a little refreshed.
Yeah, Sean's coming back from his comedy vacation, which I'm not sure if you mentioned that last episode, but yeah.
It was 4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend, and you're like, I gotta
take some time off from me.
Yeah.
A little R&R. I work hard.
Yeah. Grinding out, going. You go to a lot of mics, so you.
I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of other jobs. I do a lot of editing. I do a lot of things.
Yes.
I have my hands in a lot of honey pots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like eating that sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how we like to start.
Yeah, remember, you can DM Sean at BigBerry63 on Instagram. Did you? From the podcast, or?
I got it from a woman in comedy who might be booking me for something.
Okay.
But I don't want to talk about it until it's...
Yeah, that was a joke. That was just like, if you liked the sound of that, of Sean slurping honey.
If you like the sound of my tongue action, slide into my DM, BigBerry63.
You think there are girls out there who are just like, wow, they can just tell by the way someone moves their tongue, like, that guy, he knows how to work his tongue.
I think so, just none of our listeners.
Yeah, just none of. I mean, a lot of episodes actually are more female than male, surprisingly.
I know, it's very surprising.
Based on the Spotify
Based off everything I've ever said, I would assume no woman has ever listened to this.
But I could probably name 2 of those listeners, and the others.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Shout out to Tony Wasco if you're still.
Oh, that's right. She emailed in. Thanks, Tony.
And probably Jax is probably still listening.
Jax
to us.
doesn't listen to our podcasts.
Maybe I don't know.
She's told me before she doesn't listen to either of my podcasts.
Well. Then,
so Jax is pretty dead to me.
Yeah, well then maybe... Well,
Jacqueline.
Do you know of any other... Jacqueline.
I know most of the female listeners who listen to my podcast, but not this podcast.
Right.
So, Nicole Halsey's listened to one. I know that much.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, if you stuck with us till episode 7, good on you. Because that's this is definitely we've reached the point where you either really like us and you keep listening. Or if you don't like us, you just haven't listened to. You're not at this episode, essentially.
Or I talked to you and I forced you to subscribe to my podcast in front of you. That's been my new move I do to people. If they talk to me like, "Hey, take out your phone and subscribe to my podcast."
Yeah,
I take out a gun and I'm like, "Motherfucker!"
Yeah,
here we go.
Sean was mad because I wasn't even subscribed to this.
Yeah,
it gets on Apple.
It gets our numbers up.
Yeah, no, and I realized like,
more 5 stars and more subscribers, then Apple pushes it too.
I think
which is free promotion.
The reason why I didn't do it was because I think I just subconsciously was just like, well, I'm not going to subscribe to my own podcast. That's just,
yes.
like how you never like your own Facebook post or whatever.
Oh, I do that all the time too. I don't post anything on Facebook. No, so
that's what Gene Meyer does. You know him? Are you friends with him?
I don't know what Gene Meyer is.
Oh, he's a comic I did a show with. He makes a lot of good Facebook posts, and every time he makes a Facebook post, he always likes it immediately and then comments the American flag.
Fair enough.
Which is like, I think Frank was saying that's how you gain. That's how you actually like get it on people's news feeds or whatever. Like if
You just have
show engagement or something.
that makes sense. I mean,
Maybe I should start doing that. But like the thing is, I gotta be good.
should we make a Facebook page for this show?
Maybe.
Frank has that for out in Westchester, and it seems to work well for them. Although
I talked to you.
they
kind of
had their own built-in thing.
Yeah, I talked to you about that, and I think we both were like, I don't know about just putting up a sad little Facebook page with
exactly. I hate Facebook in general.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. I don't know why people actively. Every time I see a person like actively posting, and I'm like, you're fucking loser. I just think like, what a fucking loser. Every time, I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, I don't know. I am an active Instagram guy, but that's different.
Well, what are the posts that piss you off on Facebook?
All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna pull up my Facebook. I know, so it's gonna.
Because like I
only use Facebook for the comedy connections at this point.
Yeah, same. And making jokes.
Okay.
But like there's people who share annoying memes, and those I hate.
I hate.
Like I hate those. I hate people who like share just really garbage posts.
Yeah, here's one from a person I'm not going to mention, but the billionaire co-founder of Home Depot plans on donating up to 9% of his $5.9 billion fortune, and Trump, it just cuts off there. But like,
it's just like, news.
Why? Like, why? Who get like? I don't look at that. And
I don't know. I like
changed my life.
I like staying informed.
Somebody posting a picture of just their car.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Why?
It's not even a nice car. It's just a
It's what is this? It's a.
Is there any caption, or is it just a picture of his car?
It just says Black Beauty, and I'm like,
it's like a 2006 sedan.
Maybe I'll give it a 2009 sedan. Where else do we have this? I don't care if people update their profile pictures. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, shut the fuck up, people.
I just don't.
Oh, here's a dumb one. Dude, tomorrow's already the 10th.
I mean, that's just...
Why?
Who are you friends with? Why is this on your newsfeed? I never get stuff like that on my newsfeed. It's always just like comedian bits, and sometimes they're funny.
Yeah, but even then, save your bits for the fucking stage.
Who gives a shit? I mean,
I do.
A lot of people like actually build followings on Twitter by just doing written bits.
Twitter's different than Facebook. Facebook is like, all right.
I post on both Twitter and Facebook, and if something does well on Facebook, I'll... it's a good bit, like a good online bit.
How many times has that worked?
Not enough, but
there we go.
No, I've had some good Facebook bits. Actually, you know what I was thinking of recently was at some point taking all of like my best Facebook bits and going on r/stand-up shots. You know that, right? Stand-up shots.
No,
you've never. Oh, so it's basically
you internet way more than I do. I only use the internet for basically pornography.
It's basic pornography.
Basically pornography.
So it's a subreddit where people post like headshots of themselves or stage photos, and they add like one of their jokes, and then they add their Twitter handle, and it's like a way for comedians. Like comedians actually build followings that way.
Oh, that's not bad. I might do that.
If they have like really good jokes, but. A lot of times what comedians will do is they won't use their actual stage bits, even though that's kind of what it's for. They'll just use like Twitter bits.
Oh, that makes sense.
But like, and
honestly,
honestly,
that works better for internet because like, I don't have any good, like if you see my jokes written out, they're not good.
No, some jokes are just better as written bits than they are as like stage bits. That's, I
think my jokes are a little bit more performative.
Yeah. So then that's what works for you.
Yeah. All right. That's good to know. What's it called again? For
r/stand-up shots.
Reddit r/stand-up shots.
Yeah, go check it out if you want to see some hot comedian memes, as some people call it. But it's some of them are actually good jokes.
There's somebody who only posts memes, and I'm just like,
yeah, I mean that's annoying. It's just
like,
come on,
it's worse if they post their own memes too because they're bad. Like at least if you're using somebody else's memes, like I don't meme, I don't internet well. I use it for pornography, and looking at movies.
Yeah, so if you go on Sean's Facebook, he's just sharing pornography links.
Well, yeah, obviously. Riley Reid put out a great new scene. It was 80s themed. It was great.
Like the top of Sean's Facebook. Riley Reid new video.
Yeah.
Hot.
Read my lips.
Meanwhile, Sean's like, fuck everyone else's Facebook. Fuck garbage shit.
You can look at it. There's nothing on mine.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is. I don't check yours because I know
the most I've ever posted is now in like the groups, not just to promote the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So should we catch him on comedy?
Yeah. You didn't do anything besides I didn't do anything besides the mic.
Well, I wanted to do my theme music.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, do your famous,
Hey,
world famous
hey,
theme
Pete.
music. Yeah.
Let's catch up on comedy. A boing, da boing, da boing, da dang, a diggy, diggy, boing, da boing, da boing, da boing, diggy, diggy, boing. Yeah, boy. Yeah, I didn't do shit since we last recorded.
Did anything happen at the Monday mic that was notable?
I wasn't there last Monday.
You were there.
Last night.
Yeah, last night.
I'm confused
Yeah.
all the time. There was a lot of signups last night.
Yeah,
It was like
cut
a
off.
crazy. Like Bill cut it off, and he still let a few extra people on. I think it hit like 26.
He cut off Andres, which made me really upset.
Yeah, it sucks.
So I was
but
like,
you
he's
have
the
to-
funniest guy at that mic.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the thing too. Is like Bill implemented like, all right, only 10 people can sign up in advance,
Yeah.
and then it's like, well, fuck, you know. Like that's why people, if you go to Lucy's open mic, start going to the Wednesday one. It's every week now, just to split up the levels a little bit.
Oh yeah, I did actually go to the Wednesday mic this past Wednesday.
Oh yeah, it looked bad.
Along with four other comics. It was hosted by Alex Kolar, and it was me and James Crowley, Jonathan Barnes, Bill Cannon, the Sergeant Bill Cannon, protecting and serving all the time, and some other guy who is very new, but I forgot his name.
Oh, is he the?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know who you're
I don't
talking
know.
about.
None of us did material, or I did like 2 bits, and then
It's not worth it at that
No,
point.
it wasn't worth it. I actually asked everyone what their opinion on some of my jokes were, because I was like, all right, let me get some genuine feedback. Like, what jokes of mine do you like, and what jokes do you not like?
Yeah, that's fair.
And then like James like made fun of me for like going on stage and doing no material, and then he proceeded to do
No
no
material,
material because he
yeah.
realized like this is not the mic to do material. That's the thing. Like, if you ever go to a mic where it's just empty, there's no chance you're gonna get away unless you're really fucking amazing. There's no
But
chance you're
even
gonna get
then,
away.
I've seen Kincaid do it pretty well, but other than that, like most people just can't.
It's just
It's just awkward. It's weird. But it's also like the point where like if it's just me, you, Jimmy, and Bill, I'm like, there's no fucking point to this at all.
No, yeah, it was like you guys have heard my bits. You guys have heard my bits.
And if I'm trying something new, I'm not gonna get any real feedback.
Yeah.
So it's just becomes it's yeah. I knew no one was going to that mic because I wasn't going to that mic.
Yeah.
Like I'm the life of the potty, baby.
Well,
but yeah, like it was July 3rd. I figured it's like one of the biggest travel
I
days.
figured like no one was going to be there.
Yeah,
but
fun
I-
fact,
yeah.
on my July 3rd, my muffler fell off my car.
Oh,
Yeah, very, very shitty way to spend my
fuck
my
that.
week. Yeah, it was real shitty.
Sounds like a expensive bill.
Yeah, it was really expensive. That's not what the show's about, though. Is that I'm very poor.
No.
If you people would like to help me recoup my losses, Venmo me at Sean-Barry-25.
Yeah, or listen to us on Blueberry now. We're on Blueberry podcast.
We're on Blueberry? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what it was either.
I just saw the email update that.
Yeah, because like I actually I went on r/podcasting, and there's
Yeah.
like they do a thread every week where you can post like your newest episode when your show's about. So I did that, and
Yeah.
like I saw like where all the other podcasts were hosted, and I was like, oh, Blueberry, and then I signed up, and then they said that they'll give you like money if people listen to more than 60% of an episode. I don't know. They'll give you like $1 or something.
more than 60% of the episode.
Yeah, they'll give you like $1 or something for each listener, and then like you can cash out at $25.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so please listen to us on Blueberry. So
Yeah,
that's
Blueberry.
how we
I
could
guess,
actually
How are they making money?
ads. I don't know.
Do they put ads on our podcast then?
Well, no, they wouldn't put it in the episode. I'm
Well,
sure,
like
like on the
beforehand, maybe.
website. On the website, like
Oh,
the
I
website
guess,
would
but
have.
like, I feel like everyone listens to podcasts through Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Oh yeah, no one's using Blueberry. But
Blueberry. Like I downloaded.
if you want to support the show, listen to us on Blueberry.
Like I downloaded Luminary. I
Uh-huh.
want to listen to some podcasts off the Ringer
Mhm.
but it's a month-long free trial. Then once it expires, I'm not going to listen.
Yeah. I don't. I think Blueberry's free though. Maybe I'm wrong. But
I have no idea. I don't know how. Some people make fortunes off podcasts. I don't know how they do it.
it's just Patreons and ads. That's just how it is.
We'll get our Patreon one day.
Yeah, one of these days. Keep listening to us, guys. We'll be good.
All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I did comedically wise. I had the joy of explaining to people what I do a bunch of times over my seeing family members and being like, yeah, I went
Fucking
to
love that.
I went to I
Love
go to
that.
Mike's And that's about it.
Yeah, that's how I felt at the Mets game when I was with my dad and his dad friends. I was like, going into that, I was just like, oh, these people are gonna ask what I'm doing with my life, and I don't want to explain it.
Yeah, that's my least favorite scenario, because the worst is if you get the tell me a joke and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
And I just have to say like, oh yeah, I never said like podcast because I'm assuming half of them don't know what it is.
I rather podcast because then I can explain that it's internet radio, and then I'm like,
yeah, that's more relatable. I guess
because people know what comedy is, but they're just like, you're doing that, you know?
Well, honestly, so here's the thing. Every time I bring up comedy, like with people, like either friends or like family friends or whatever, like people see it as like a novelty where it's just like, whoa, he does stand up, isn't that interesting and cool? And now I slowly started to realize that I have like a fleeting amount of years left to do something in comedy before it just gets tiring to people. Like, oh yeah, you're still doing comedy, huh?
The clock is ticking. I think.
Yeah.
I think we have police officer drove by.
Ooh,
arresting somebody.
I mean, this is a safe neighborhood.
It'd be great if they just bust in here, SWAT, take you off in handcuffs, and I'm like,
did someone SWAT this podcast?
Have you swatted us?
Even though we don't record live, that would be crazy.
That'd be good.
That'd be crazy if like Frankie swatted us.
Frankie swatted us. I just sent him a text beforehand, like it's all an inside job to get you arrested. I just narrate the whole thing through the pod.
Peter, stop fighting back. Like, oh!
Stop resisting!
Oh, did you have to punch him? Oh.
Stop resisting!
You're not gonna take me. I didn't do anything. Fuck off.
There's coke on him. Get him.
They lift under the carpet. There's just a bunch of drugs.
This has all been like, you're a completely different person than I expected. I'm like, I just do a podcast with him.
The podcast was the money laundering scheme.
That was the plan, to start filtering money. That was honestly not the worst idea I've ever heard for like a
laundering scheme.
A laundering scheme. Yeah. Just like, man, you get a lot of donations from Colombia.
Yeah, all of our listeners are from South America, oddly enough.
Yeah. All right.
Oh man. So I guess, is that everything?
Yeah, that's pretty much everything that happened the last 7 days for me.
Cool. Well, we can get into the first story I found on Reddit. This is a holiday related one because this is around July 4th. I actually didn't do anything this July 4th.
You just sat in your house?
Pretty much. I mean, my family wasn't doing anything. Last 4th of July, I wasn't even in the country.
You were in Russia.
I was in Russia, the enemy of the country currently.
Yeah, you traitor.
Yeah. So 2 years in a row.
Call my country a cunt.
But no, it was my friend's birthday this weekend, so I did that. It wasn't 4th of July themed. But anyway, so I found on Reddit.
Comedy. That's what we're here for.
Well, this is what it's related to. So I found on Reddit, this guy, user ho_Kogan V1, Ho Gogan.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, by Ho Kogan V1. So I've been an open micer for 2 months now. Still a newbie, but I wanted to go out and do an open mic tonight, July 4th, which is Independence Day for us Americans. And so unfortunately, a lot of bars / clubs / open mics were closed for the evening, which I thought was bullshit. I don't know if you're an open micer. I don't know. IDK, if you were an open micer, you should be going up whenever you can, but it was a ghost town in Chicago. So instead of, I was invited to one of my friends' barbecue. I asked her how she's doing. She asked me the same. I tell her the story about how I was set with the open mics in town, and so I straight up asked her if it's cool if I can do a set in front of everyone. Oh no, this is turning into a Twilight Zone before me. I made sure everyone was cool with it, and I didn't have a stage or anything. I just grabbed a milk crate, turned the floodlights on, and just performed for everyone. I felt, God, people's grammar is so fucking bad. I felt great to get it out of my system. I had my friend host it, we played some intro music. Some people were drunk enough to go up and after me, and we had a fun 30-minute show. I don't know, I just wanted to share this cool story. Happy 4th, everyone. Fuck this guy. I'm just glad I'm glad you do all the work for this podcast, because I would just get so fucking angry every time just looking at any of these things. Take a fucking night off.
I know, right? That's what that's what everyone was thinking. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it's
this
like,
guy. I mean, this guy obviously he's so new. He's so excited about doing stand up.
they haven't broken him yet.
No, exactly. Like he's so it's all like sunshines and rainbows. Like, whoa, comedy! It's this really cool thing.
Yeah, I get that from like the people in our scene too, when they're like,
Yeah.
"You aren't going to this mic on Sunday night," and I'm like, "No, it's a
Really?
fucking yeah."
People like are mad at you for not going to
No,
a
but
mic.
they're not
or-
mad at me. But they're always wondering like, "Why aren't you doing it every?" And I'm like, I have fucking shit to do. I like also sometimes I just like fucking not doing it.
I mean, no, honestly, like it's good.
I do it 6 nights a week.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like you go to various amounts of mics a
Yeah.
week. Like it's
Like,
good to not do this.
I'm going to 3 tonight.
To be honest, it's good to not do the same mic like every week.
Yeah,
you know, every
I'm,
now
like
and
I
then.
purposely I'm doing a goal for the next couple weeks, just
Yeah.
doing a lot more of the sitting, just to mix it up mic wise instead of
Yeah, you should definitely do more
here.
of the city
Yeah, I should.
because Lucy's is great, but
Well, yeah, I got to start expanding my range here, and I also I have a job interview tomorrow in
Yeah.
the city, which means I'd be working in the city,
right,
which means I gotta do that, which means I gotta start moving on with my life.
right. We'll get into that with
Yeah.
the next thing.
We'll save that.
I thought was bullshit that all the bars, clubs, and open
Bullshit.
mics
All
were
these
closed
bars
on
were-
Independence Day.
They should be working so I can go up and do my shitty
I'm
5
wondering if
minutes
this guy
on
is
porn.
18.
He must be young. Like,
He's definitely young. If he's like 29, he's like, why are the bars closed on Independence Day? You're like, dude.
yeah, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, go make out with some girl so the
Exactly.
fireworks go off. And that's what your independent city. Like, I enjoy it. But that's like saying, why are all these closed on Christmas? Huh? Like I'm Jewish. When
Where all the Jew mics at?
yeah, that probably is.
And all the
thing.
Jewish people are like, dude, we want a holiday too. Like,
yeah, like everyone enjoys Christmas, even the Jews. They
Yeah.
go to Chinese food in the movies. Like,
yeah,
that's it.
exactly. And also, like, there's no traffic anywhere. They just
Yeah, like it's everyone's home with their
The
families.
Jews love Christmas because everyone else celebrates it and they can do nothing.
I thought it was bullshit.
Do you think what's
bullshit.
the photograph store in the city?
B&H?
Yeah, B&H.
Yeah.
They're probably closed on Christmas.
Yeah, of course they're closed all the time.
And that store is famously run by the Orthodox community, or is it conservative? I forgot.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's just bad that he thinks that he like always has to be on the grind. Always like you got to live your life.
I think a lot of people have this problem where it's like because you can't get addicted to it, and it's not about like it's sometimes you're not making any progress. You could actually stunting your growth, but it feels
Yes.
like just because you're doing it every night, you're making progress.
Yes.
You need to be doing like it's there's this expression from sports is practices make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yes.
Like that's really what it is. And like you just doing it to do it is not good enough sometimes.
Yes.
Doing it right is the way to do it.
Like shout out to Steve Hofstetter. He did a show at Lucy's and he was talking to some comics. He wanted to start a mic in Connecticut, and he said like you got to find a place to do a good mic because there's lots of like places that just do bad mics. And if you're doing those, he said the famous saying like 10,000 hours of anything will make you a master eventually. Well, imagine doing 10,000 hours of doing it wrong,
Yeah, that is very true.
which is true. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're always like trying to improve on. You're not doing some bullshit or doing bullshit mics, whatever. But also, like, dude, you got to live your life. Seriously, to be a comedian, like,
you need to have life
you
experiences.
got to just live go to
Like,
the
that would've
barbecue,
been the
live your life.
perfect opportunity just to observe and find material.
Yeah.
Like you could still be working in that sense of the regard. Like I had a bunch of things happen to me over this weekend that I've been trying to turn into bits now. Like I have a new bit about going to CVS that I like, that I'm working on. I'm like, that's good.
I mean, almost any famous comedian says. I know Chris Rock said it in the Judd Apatow book. He said like in the interview, just before every special, I just gotta like live my life, get new experiences, and then I'll have enough material to make a new special.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just how you gotta. That's kind of the beauty of comedy. You don't need to like be 24/7 focusing on comedy. And if you do that, you're gonna get burnt out and annoyed with yourself. You can just like say like, all right, like I'm gonna go to this barbecue and maybe not even worry about what comedically this is going to bring me. Just go to the barbecue and have fun.
Yeah.
And through that, like you're a little older than I. Like the older you get, the more of a nuanced insight
you actually start to
acquire.
understand things better. Like,
Yes.
there is a lot of wisdom that comes with age. Like that's just it. Like there's a lot of there's some younger guys that go to Lucy's with us, and I'm like, who are only talking about porn and masturbating and weed, and like, and like how girls don't like them. Like,
I feel like they're not much younger than us. They're probably
the one kid I'm thinking of is he's like 18. That's at this point it's a pretty noticeable age difference between him and
18.
me. And
that's just gonna be him until he grows up a little.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any life experiences.
Yeah.
It's like the Louis joke of like from the HBO special he did a couple years ago, where it's like, a physicist and a coal miner, like a 45-year-old coal miner is smarter than any 25-year-old physicist, because that coal miner's lived a life.
Yeah.
And I won't do the bit, but it's funny.
No, I think it's a valuable bit. I've accepted the fact that where it's like I really like comedy that's has a lot of emotion to it and a lot of thought and a lot of like careful carved out insights on life. Like I really respond to that. I'm not sure if I don't think I do a lot of comedy like that, but I know it's going to take time for me to like actually bring myself to like find that sort of
emotional
insight.
Depth.
Emotional depth. I think that's the comedy I respond to.
But you want to read some of these comments the people left on this guy's page?
Well, actually, first thing, I didn't notice this when I first read it, but I highlighted it. He said he turned the floodlights on.
Floodlights. Oh. So
I don't think they had floodlights, but...
No, I mean, I guess just the backyard lights or whatever.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was... You could just tell it's like so dramatic for him doing stand-up. Like, he's in that phase where it's just like, it's so... You have like the rosiest colored glasses on about doing comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Because literally, like at Lucy's, we can't find this light switch to turn on the stage lights, so it's just the overhead lights now, and it's a little awkward.
But...
here's some comments. This seems more like when life throws a party. Ask it where the keeps the lemons. Then make lemonade and spend the rest of the night asking everyone what they thought of the lemonade.
Yeah, because you can't tell just from reading the post, but you can maybe infer that like when he was asking everyone like, hey, is it okay if I could do stand up here? Like, would you guys be cool if I did stand up? Everyone was just like, Sure. Well, all right.
See, that's why I like being who I am, because I'm at the point where I'll say, like, no. Like, I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
have you ever, oh, God, like, it's a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. It's just being a social assassin, of being the one person that had the courage to say the thing everyone else actually feels. It does. It feels good. So I've got to the point where I don't like fucking give a shit, so I'll just say, like, yeah, no, that fucking sucked.
No.
Yeah.
Don't fucking perform.
Which is kind of what this next person commented. This may seem cool now, but it becomes an insufferable trait in a person. Just keep in mind, whether it's another 6 months or 6 years down the road, you're still doing stand-up. It's okay to be a normal person.
It's okay to be a normal person. It's, you don't have to find a reason to perform all the time.
Yeah, you don't. Like, there's 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it all. Like, do it 280.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like, there's not a lot of...
You don't hear a financial banker be like, I gotta financially bank on Sunday. And like, it was like, take your fucking days off.
Yeah. I mean,
life ends for everyone, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be like a deathbed, like, you know what? I really wish I could have done stand up on the 4th of July in 2019.
My friend's barbecue.
Yeah, fucking, like, I really missed that.
All the bars were closed for some reason. I don't know.
Some insane reason.
I thought they were open 24/7, and the people who worked there just lived there.
Yeah.
They love doing it.
Yeah. I like how this guy also in the initial thing says the 4th of July 4th, which is Independence Day for us Americans.
Well, there's some British people and other...
The British would definitely know. we made it fucking clear to them that this is our independence.
Well, I don't... Well, do they know July 4th is...
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know that.
It's in all of our movies and television that we export to the entire world.
That's true.
The United States makes it very clear when our Independence Day is to everyone. Like, that is genuinely, it's a thing. Like, I don't know when fucking King's Day in the Netherlands is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I remember famously when I was in middle school, our American history teacher brought in a British textbook. Okay. And she was comparing like the American textbook and the British textbook. And she was pretty much making this conclusion that the British textbook, like the British history they were teaching, they acted really embarrassed about losing the Revolutionary War, that they just kind of glossed over.
And then some things happened.
Major things.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Like they boiled down the Boston Tea Party to 2 sentences.
Yeah, a terrorist attack.
But so I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if plenty of British people didn't know July 4th was Independence Day.
Nah, I think you know. Just
So,
enough people watched Stranger Things this past weekend to know what the 4th of July is.
Yeah. Actually, there was a British girl who did, when I did a directing class my senior year, there was a British girl who was doing an abroad program who I cast, and she said that the American television that she knows is on TV a lot in Britain is like Family Guy and American Dad.
Makes sense.
And I'm like, those are like the Lay's potato chips of American television.
Yeah. I mean, it's just easy to export.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. People get it.
Yeah. South Park is also big there, I think.
Yeah.
All those great shows.
They still like rerun Friends in most countries. A show that's been over with for 15 fucking years.
God damn, the royalties, though,
I just don't understand the appeal of that show.
Could you imagine the royalties, though? I mean, like, even The Office, like, these people are like Netflix spends like just
$200 million.
8 figures to like keep it on. Like, imagine
to keep a show they like.
But like when I see that, I'm thinking like, man, those writers and actors are getting fucking bank.
Oh god, that's the old days. Like, you know, if we were to make a TV show now, we wouldn't get shit.
Yeah.
These like plain and simple, like a show would probably be 13 episodes because they don't do long seasons anymore.
Yeah.
And it would probably last 4 seasons, and that would be it. And it would just go to a streaming service because there's no reruns anymore outside of classic shows. And no shows are the gigantic hits that they once were.
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, they've started running BoJack on Comedy Central, I know.
Yeah, that's weird because Netflix owns the full rights to BoJack. Probably just licensing it out to Comedy Central.
Yeah.
To make money. Yeah. I don't know how we got on the subject of licensing rights and fees, but
dude, I don't fucking know. My memories.
Yeah,
my memories.
The show, yeah.
Yeah. So like we don't have enough information. I mean, maybe he did kill. Maybe his friends actually liked it, or maybe they were just like. I'd like to think that
he
there's
definitely
80% chance that his friends
kill.
were giving him pity laughs.
Yeah,
and
they're
like,
yeah.
And he's so delusioned about how well he did, which happens when you're new. That he thought he like really killed it when he really just pissed off all his friends.
Yeah, he
and
probably
just
talked about porn and I am getting tired of porn jokes.
I am too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been tired of porn jokes for a long time.
I know.
I have one porn joke and I keep it because I personally think it's clever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I will never do a joke that I think like, oh, this is overdone and hacked. But like, I think I've written it in a way where it's like, it gets a good response from the audience. And I just think it's like a funny new idea.
Yeah, my only porn joke is how I say I'm tired of porn.
Yeah, that's fair. And I don't watch porn anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
I haven't watched, seriously watched porn. You want
to play a game of Russian roulette?
Of porn?
Yeah, we go get your laptop and then we look at your history to see if you're lying or not.
No.
I just start going to...
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Just like, oh.
Brutal. No, I clear my history obsessively, but
yeah, I don't bother anymore.
No, like I don't find porn sexy at all. I think people give the argument where it's like, oh, it's not supposed to be sexy, but I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point?
Well, it's just eroticism.
Like it's like arousing, but it's not arousing to me. It's just I don't know. There's nothing arousing about like porn actresses to me.
It depends. I think porn. All right, this is. I don't want.
We don't have to get on this topic.
That we can do a new podcast. 2 penis minimum.
I don't know. Maybe I'll find like a porn related bit next episode. We can get into this. But anyway, for the next story, I know you have a job interview coming up.
I do.
What's the interview for? Can you say?
That's just a production assistant position.
Okay, that's fair.
It's just driving a guy
for like
around.
A movie or.
No, it's like for this DJ. It's a weird one.
Oh, got it. Cool.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it, though.
Yeah, okay. So I found this... actually, I had this ready for last episode, but we didn't have time to get to it. But I thought, since you're applying for a job, this other person on Reddit said he says, confession, I spontaneously stole a Jim Gaffigan joke to tell during a job interview, and it killed. And I don't have to read the whole thing, but basically he's looking for a new job because he's having a 4th child, and when the interview...
I don't need to hear about his family life.
Well, it's irrelevant to the joke, but
okay.
He stole a Jim Gaffigan joke, and you're like... Right. So he's looking for a new job because he's having a 4th child, and the interviewer asked, why are you looking for a new job? And he said, we're expecting our 4th child, and he threw in the famous Jim Gaffigan.
Just imagine you're drowning. And then someone hands you a baby. Good joke.
Which is a very good joke.
It killed. The interview was already going well, but completely changed into a we really like this guy, not just his work experience type of interaction. We'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, so Have you ever? I don't think I've ever been asked in a job interview. I mean, he wasn't asked, "Tell me a joke," but have you ever been asked in a job interview, "Tell me a joke"?
No, I've told people that I do stand up before, and just how that I'm comfortable with crowds and stuff.
Yeah.
I've never had to tell a bit because
Yeah.
I'm always just like, I have people like, oh, what's some of the stuff you talk about? And I usually just kind of give broad strokes. I'm like, yeah, life is a bigger.
Oh, I'm like an observational.
I usually just,
has
I
a
usually
solid insight on the human experience.
I usually just say wacky stories from my life.
Yeah, that's fair.
And stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, I don't know, like telling a joke. I mean, I don't think this guy did anything wrong stealing a joke. Lots of people tell other people's jokes.
No, I mean, some guy commented saying that a lot of workplace humor is just people stealing jokes
the
from
water
television.
cooler, the iconic water cooler thing everyone used to talk about, which doesn't exist anymore, but is like, yeah, people would go to the water cooler and talk about what they watched on TV last night.
Yeah.
So like that's literally it. Like life is usually just talking about something you already heard about.
Mm-hmm. I took like a job prep class my last semester. It was like a short two credit class, and we practiced doing interviews.
Yeah.
And the interviewer always had to throw in, "Tell me a joke," and I knew of this, and I was like, the only comedian there. Everyone was aware that I do stand up.
You were in the stand up club.
Everyone was like so expectant of me having like a solid joke. I never did one of my own jokes because I just didn't think it would work. I didn't think it would work well within the context of an interview. So I stole like a Stephen Wright joke for these mock interviews. I did the joke. You had this like really funny one-liner that was just like, I think it's kind of messed up that only one company produces Monopoly. Yeah, and it did.
God damn, that's a good joke.
Yeah, exactly. And it did well at the interview, and like my teacher was just like, "That's a great joke. You got to keep that joke for all the interviews."
Yeah.
Also, not a lot of people know Stephen Wright that well, so it was a safe joke to take just for the sake of the interview.
I feel like a lot of people know Stephen Wright jokes, but they don't know Stephen Wright wrote them.
I gotta listen to more of him.
He might be the most clever comedian of all time.
Yeah, he's the famously deadpan.
Maybe Mitch Hedberg.
Famously deadpan, but his writing chops like make up for it entirely.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think those jokes work better deadpan. Like it'd be weird to be doing them like I think it's really fucked up.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right, actually. You're totally
there's
right.
only one company that makes the game Monopoly.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I just like always think like every time I hear a deadpan comedian at an open mic, like sometimes I'll hear them say something great, but I'm like, oh, if you just had more charisma, that would have been funny.
Shots fired at Frankie Becerra.
No, it's not shots fired. He kicked both of our asses at the comedy competition.
Yeah, it's true. He kicked both of our asses in real life too. Who knew he was a Thai jutsu expert?
Yeah, he put me in a mean headlock.
I know.
And it's just like, give me your bar tab money.
Snap my leg.
I was like, all right, Frankie.
Yeah, he swept the leg, got me on my back, just ground and pounded.
He was like, "Who's your comedy daddy?" You are,
master.
But actually, it was funny. We did like 2 mock interviews in this class. So the second mock interview, they asked me the same question, like, "Tell me a joke," and I just didn't prepare another joke. So I did the same joke again, and no one laughed, and it was like really awkward. And I was just like, guys, that's my go-to. My interview bit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, it was really, that class kind of sucked. But anyway, but let's say someone was insistent. This is prepping you for your interview. Let's say someone was insistent that you tell them a joke. What would you tell them?
Your mother's pussy. I don't know. Like I don't have set to go jokes. Like I'd probably, I don't know, maybe.
Like if this guy was like insistent for whatever reason. You could just say you could also just take a joke online.
Yeah, I guess I could. But I don't know. I'd probably just be like, nah, I was lying about the whole joke telling thing. I just be like, nah, I don't want to. I don't want to work here. That seems not my style, dog.
I just think it's funny. Like he's going through your Instagram for some reason, being like, you have a cool little social life. You do a lot of comedy. You're like, why don't you tell me a joke? And you're just like, yeah, it's just all bullshit.
Yeah, I've been photoshopping myself into those posters for a while.
Yeah, I just wanted to look cool in front of all my friends. I'm not actually a big time comic.
Yeah, that's true.
You just fucking leave the interview. I mean, it's true. Like, the most annoying thing anyone could say to a comedian is tell me a joke. because
I'm not performing.
Saying that comes with the expectation of just like, ooh, dance, monkey, dance, make me laugh. Like people like kind of, there's almost this antagonizing way people do it that just isn't conducive for the transaction of like telling the joke to be worth it. You know,
100%. Because it's like,
like
if you saw an actor, you would be like, act for me real quick, huh?
Yeah.
Although people do ask them to say lines.
Yeah, but it's
Do you have a catchphrase?
I think most people say tell me a joke with the expectation there's going to be something cheesy or corny.
Yeah,
being
like something
said by
just like
you.
a lot of stand up is a lot of build up to punchlines.
Yeah.
So you need a lot of work into it.
In high school, actually, I told a lot of people jokes I never written if they asked me to tell them a joke, and they were just like, "Wow, it's really funny." I'm like, "Thanks, come see me," and I'll tell not that joke, but
Oh yeah, I used to tell people Louis jokes because they hadn't heard of him at the time.
yeah,
I think a lot of people forget he didn't like blow up mainstream until I don't know 2012.
mm-hmm.
Like he was like super niche, less niche, mainstream, toxic.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember the time when some people just didn't know Louis C.K.
Well,
I remember talking to someone being like, "Louis C.K., who is that?" I'm
Yeah.
like,
He loves masturbating, which actually applies
Yeah.
before that.
Now no one cannot know
not know who he is.
Who he is.
All right.
I think that's
all we have
that's
kind of-
covered. Yeah, I think that's covered. That
Should
how
we-
many minutes?
We're
do we
at 40
have?
minutes. It's probably a lighter episode.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. So we had our comedy homework from last week.
Yeah,
That we
I
gave
did
everyone?
my homework today.
Well, we had to do
We
it
had
today.
to do it today.
I swear to God, I thought it came out on Friday when I looked at it, but I guess not. We were talking about Aziz Ansari's new special on Netflix called Right Now.
Yeah, right now.
Right Now came out today. The time of recording this July 9th.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by Spike Jonze,
Mm-hmm.
written and performed by Aziz.
Mm-hmm.
It's his first hour long in a couple years, and since he was I wouldn't say he was Me Too'd, but he was.
Well, he was Me Too. He was part of. Yeah.
He obviously the Babe.net article about a date encounter he had with some woman a few years ago.
Which I actually read today. After, because I wasn't like up to date with the details, and I think it's important that everyone is up to date.
Yeah,
on the
well, I mean,
details.
it's part of it. That's why
Yeah.
I picked it. I also picked it because like it was coming out, and I was like, we need something to cover because if not, it's a 40-minute podcast.
I always can get plenty of shit to cover.
Yeah, but I didn't want to have to keep reading people on the internet. It's some. I also like I also like to try to mix up the episodes.
Yeah, I got you.
So let's do some first impressions. What'd you think?
Oh, I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too.
Aziz is not my favorite comedian. I wouldn't say Aziz is a comedian who I immediately want, check out on YouTube if I'm feeling like very uninspired. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I always kind of thought he was like the rapper comedian where he's always flaunting his status as, like his famous bits are literally him hanging out with Kanye or him hanging out with R. Kelly. And like, I don't know, like his punchlines were never gut busting laughers. It's always like Snickers.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the way I always looked at him, but he's popular. I get it. He had the mainstream appeal from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Which people liked. And then he had the success of Master of None, a very popular show.
I liked Master of None a lot.
So you don't have Netflix. I want to get into this.
So that's the thing. My family just does not invest in entertainment at all. So
what an insane world to live in.
I had Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon for a little bit in my childhood, and then my parents were just like, we're not paying for. We only had basic cable after that.
Oh my God.
My dad's really stingy, so he just doesn't pay for shit. He doesn't want.
You should put this into your act. It's like, that is so neat. You like, who the fuck? Like, who the
Yeah, I was a PBS kid for a little bit.
Yeah, like you were watching PBS.
That's Arthur is a fucking great show. PBS has some great shows.
I'm not saying Arthur isn't fire, but like, so yeah, like when you asked me for my Netflix login, I'm like, who the fuck does have Netflix?
So how I watch TV shows since I discovered how to do this back in like 9th grade is I just go on like Put Locker's 123 Movies, watch series, all the famous like streaming sites where they just have like archives of TV shows, and they have like links to like streaming sites that are illegal to exist. They're not illegal to watch.
Yeah.
And that's how I just watch every TV show.
That's how I used to watch animes.
Movie. So because this was so early, I don't think there was. I was looking all online for
it came out 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I know, but like some people get episodes out like that.
That's
like
true.
They get them out really quickly, and I was like, wow, I guess no one cares about Aziz that much to get this out right away.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I think it's harder to rip from Netflix though.
Maybe it is.
I think that's the case.
And I already used my free Netflix login to do Bandersnatch when it came out, so I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, Sean, I need your Netflix password.
Yeah. Share the Netflix password now.
Yeah. Now I have a Hulu that my sister has because she has Spotify Premium, but that's kind of shit because there's ads, so I don't use it.
Okay. Well, anyways, so you like Master of None?
Oh, I liked it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I liked the show. I thought it was a bad comedy, but a good show.
Yeah, you know.
They did market it as, oh, it's a comedy, and like it's the type of comedy I hate, where it's just a guy walking around with his hands in his pockets, and being like, oh, well, what does life mean? And like, I always liked it because it was good fantasy New York. Where it's like, oh, hey, I randomly got cheap tickets to see Father John Misty in this underground club right up front. It only cost me $200.
Yeah, he's like a commercial actor, and he has the nicest apartment.
The nicest apartments. Yeah. Cool. He's always at the cool club finding cool food. And the second,
second season, he eats at so many restaurants.
Yeah. And also dates, honestly, might be the most beautiful woman alive, the Italian girl from the second season.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but she's not one of the most beautiful.
She was gorgeous.
Like, just gorgeous to look at. And I'm like, that's some fantasy living right there.
Noelle Wells, is that her name? Who was in the first season?
Yeah, she's the first season. She was on SNL.
She's also very pretty.
Yeah, but not as pretty as the second season.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I stray more away from most guys. I think a lot of guys like supermodel looks. I don't really like supermodel looks that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like Noelle Wells, like she's gorgeous to me.
I like a personality painter personally.
Yes, I do. We're woke, Sean. We're woke, Sean.
Are we still doing
need to be explained.
We still doing that?
Oh,
we kind of have to be reviewing Aziz's new special.
Yeah. It's funny. Second season. I think I made a tweet about this, just saying that like this is his. The only reason he did the second season was just so he could eat at restaurants for free because he's always at a restaurant.
That's exactly. If I ever get a TV show like that, you don't think I'm going to take a complete advantage of that?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Anything else for first impressions?
In terms of just talking, I think it was gorgeously shot. It was directed by Spike Jonze. Took some actual interesting choices with making a special. Because most specials are just 3 cameras and cutting between, and then then cutting to the audience every now and then. And this one, most people, I don't know if anybody else has done this. I haven't seen it personally, but he uses a steady cam the entire time and is really just focused in on himself. And there's a few cameras at the audience too to get a good way of just cutting. This just goes into editing and directing a comedy special, but a good way of just cutting in and out of an audience. But I thought that was an interesting idea. Something I hadn't seen before in a special in a while. Yeah,
I really like the beginning of the special where he's like walking around New York City. He's wearing a Metallica shirt, I believe, right?
Yeah, Metallica shirt. Which is also, I think, it's an interesting choice because most of his specials he's in a suit.
Yeah,
which I think is showing that he is trying to change. It's either different or changed up from what he previously was.
Well, exactly. And the way I saw it, like he's wearing a Metallica shirt, and then like all of a sudden he like kind of walks in the back of a theater from like the street he's on outside in Brooklyn is where they shot, I believe. I think it was Brooklyn.
In Manhattan,
I think he said Brooklyn at the end, like thank you Brooklyn.
Might have been
wherever in New York City. He the street in New York City. He opens the door and he just kind of walks into the theater, which is like where the stage was. The door he walked in.
Yeah, a massive 1,000-person theater.
But like I mean, I've said this before, which I thought was cool. He comes in wearing a Metallica shirt. It's a very human thing. He like
he looks like just a dude.
He really just like kind of downplayed the whole fanfare of performing into a theater.
And here's the thing: it clearly had been shot pretty recently too.
Yeah,
it just was. So it was it felt very fresh and new.
Yeah,
like he kind of just put it out there.
Yeah. He was on tour for a few months, workshopping.
So the majority of the bits are relatively new things that happened. Like he covered a lot of the Michael Jackson documentary and R. Kelly documentary that came out the beginning half of this year. Was a big part of his segments. Well, actually, let's just start from the beginning, I guess.
Yeah, I do. Again, I liked his entrance, and I liked how he was just wearing a Metallica shirt. It just shows that like I'm human. I'm like trying to be on your level,
right? Because you gotta remember, for the most part, this special
beautiful.
is the first time most people have seen him since the allegations. Because he goes undercover. I guess not allegations. It's what.
Yeah.
goes into basically he gets out of the limelight, and he comes back. He makes a quick joke of being mistaken for Hassan Minaj,
and then he gets into the allegations and how he feels about it, and he says like the same thing he said at he said this already at like a New York City show like a few months ago.
Yeah, I think he's been saying it a lot.
He's been saying it like at every show, where it's just like it took him a long time to process these feelings, and that he fuck. I wish I wrote down.
It's pretty fresh. This is my.
I wish I wrote down what he said, because like I don't want to just like sum up. Like
we can sum it up relatively. He basically was like basically the allegations were a shock to him. He obviously had a lot to think about what they say, his own relationships and how past examination of dates, and his relationship with women and stuff. And other people have come up to him, so that made them examine it too, and he thinks that's a good thing, and that he's trying to live his best life.
Yeah, and I watched news segments when he did it the first time at the New York City show, and the women there actually felt like he was being genuine and heartfelt.
Well, that's the thing too, is that when the allegations came out, a lot of women defended him. A lot of them did. Like that was the thing is his was easily the most split of anybody that got me too.
It was a gray area, because what it ended up being was just like he was being sexually aggressive in a way that it never leaded to the point where he was like going to.
It's not like he forced himself on this woman. He didn't, but he at the same time
kind of did, but he well, not real, not
he didn't.
Yeah. He didn't force himself.
He didn't take it. He didn't use his position of power like in the workplace, which a lot of Me Too was.
Exactly.
It was a date, and I remember the one striking line that was read to me is that she said in the article that he did not pick up on her nonverbal cues, which was a lot of what a lot of people picked up on of like, well, she never explicitly said. But she said she was clearly felt like it was obvious that she was uncomfortable, which is its own. Again, it's this weird gray area of understanding and consent and everything, and it makes life is full of weird moments. I think we can agree of like understanding. You think one thing, somebody else thinks the other. We could both walk away from this table and think completely different things of what happened, just from our own processes and biases and all that stuff. By the way, people. We're fucking woke.
We're woke as shit. You hearing this wokeness right now coming from the two of us?
I don't know. People forget I'm pretty woke.
No, I think it's important.
Well, you have to examine it if you want to actually talk about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like in cases like these. I mean, I read an article before Me Too that was shared by someone that was just like, I had sex with this guy in college. It wasn't rape, but I didn't want it, which was just like kind of, it wasn't as egregious as Aziz, but it was just a woman not feeling comfortable saying no when a guy was already on top of her.
Yeah, and there's so many of these stories out there in the world, and like people need to understand I think it all comes down to respect at the end of the day, of respecting your sexual partners and people in general, and understanding that like it's a big thing for me as a big guy. Like if every time most women are smaller than me, and so I understand that things I think are like when I grabbed you the other day from behind as a friend, like you're like, oh god, I'm being attacked. Like I would never in a billion years do that to a woman.
No.
Billion years.
No.
Like, and that was just in a friendly...
You'd get pepper sprayed like that.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm not saying... I also have close female friends who have basically the same level of friendship you and I have.
Yeah.
But just the context and power dynamics and everything, I could not do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I will say, though, I think... Have a lot of women come to his like support? Like
there was a lot of blowback.
But even after he addressed it, I don't know if every woman supports him still.
Not every woman, but like obviously it was a big divide. I'd say like 60-40 were in favor of him.
So so here's the thing I'm going to say, because like I know it's kind of touchy. Like I don't think it's in my position to determine whether or not Aziz should be forgiven. I don't think it's in my position.
I agree with that too. It's more of like it is what it is. Like I can't.
I think if you're a woman, or even just like a guy, if you feel like you've been a victim of any sort of sexual harassment, it's more up to them than it is to me.
That's the thing too, is like there have been cases where the victim have said, leave this person alone, that I forgave them, but other people keep going on that person because of their own personal agendas, and so it becomes this whole mix and match thing. But so I feel like he handled it pretty well. He definitely
it's good. It's definitely very good. You have to
address it off the bat.
It was the first thing he addressed.
I think you either have to address it off the bat or you need to do 20 minutes on it at the end.
Yeah. And, he also addressed it.
Well, I think that's his whole thing is him examining modern culture, the state of things in 2019.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I think we kind of covered
and it was really well crafted.
So that's what I thought. I do feel like this is his best special. I've watched all of his stuff. I never loved him, but I always watch his stuff because it is what's in the culture.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen his specials like a long time ago, but I definitely think like this would be his best work.
He is a smart guy. He wrote a great book called Modern Romance a few years ago, which was really well researched and thought out, and just kind of like how love developed over the years. How love is a generally new concept, actually, because most marriages were actually just business transactions, and now in the modern age, you and I, we look for a partner to love and spend our time with, as opposed to fuck doll to fuck.
Well, a mom to be a mom, essentially what it was.
No,
right?
I think my thing was the way it was. Well, no, women were viewed as objects to fornicate with and then raise the man's children while he went and worked.
Yeah,
it's basically it's interesting because you can also see it from other cultures and perspectives. It was a good book. I recommend it. Let's get back more into the other stuff, because I think talk a lot of things that comedians are touching on in the modern age of kind of the race to be the most woke in the internet age.
Oh yeah, and one of my favorite jokes is he talks about how there's a point where he'd rather talk to a racist than a woke person, because at least a racist is brief and a woke person's just like, well, I read this article and
exactly, finding it out. And he did this great article. I remember this article of a girl wore a traditional Asian dress, a white girl, and and some kid was like, this is a cultural appropriation, and then the race to wokeness. Well, actually, it's from Malaysian culture, not Asian culture. And it's like, I'm just finding hypocrisies and the kind of insanity of trying to constant one-upsmanship.
Yeah.
I actually felt like he was weirdly more critical of the left than the right, because most of his stuff has been
it was
race-based, and this one there was obviously a lot of racial touchings as well, but like kind of how it's gone so far the other way.
Yeah, and it's honestly, look, here's the thing, conservatives, you can make fun of leftists and have it be funny, but you just got to be good at doing it.
No, so I wouldn't say that's conservative thing like that right there.
Sorry.
That was an attack.
Sorry, I just think that a lot of conservative comedy, when they want to make fun of the left, it's so trite.
Well, every time I hear, I'm tired of this PC culture.
It's never never funny. It's just them exaggerating them to the point where it's like they're not even a real thing.
Like,
you know,
lefties are insane people as well. Like they are, because it's like, I need my macchiato toast with a side of vegan who gives a fuck and whatever shit, and like no eggs.
Yeah.
And all right, that person is annoying. They are, because they're so hyper niche and specific instead of just being a person, like people who can't like enjoy the 4th of July because of all the atrocities America's committed.
Yeah.
Like part of, like it's a day off. You're supposed to celebrate yourself to a certain extent. Yeah. Every country has done horrific things.
Yeah, and part of being American is wanting to improve your country.
Yeah, like it's wanting to make it better every day. And everyone's like,
not mutually exclusive.
What about this country? What about that country? Everyone's done a bad thing, and everybody but the fact of the matter is you didn't, so you should be allowed to celebrate yourself for a day.
Yeah,
it's like the thing of like, things are not good. Things have never been good. Great line from his thing is, people are like, the shit has hit the fan. The fan's never not been covered in shit.
No, yeah, so true. It really is true.
Which is a great line from him.
No, I think the special had a lot of purpose. It was really well crafted. It was about knee-jerk responses and a criticism of that,
and how fast the cycle of news goes, and how people are constantly trying to stay on top of it because you feel that they feel compelled to, not because they want to.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, in order to be this person that you're supposed to be, you need to do this. Like,
he broke down the criticism of people being people being bad people at certain points. Like he uses like a very specific example from Parks and Rec, where they like did an episode where his character like gave another character,
Rashida Jones's character, a teddy bear
with a nanny cam in it.
With a nanny cam, which is creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy. And he was just like, are the writers bad people for writing that.
No, because it's a comedic scenario, and like they know it's ridiculous. That's the whole point. Was it?
But he was just pointing out, just like the sensibilities change, and you realize, like, okay,
yeah, exactly. Because like, even though that show only came out a few years ago, but like
you realize, like, there's jokes to there's jokes to improve on. You can move past stuff. You can learn from it.
Because again, people want to criticize that comedy. Like, all right, well, you want to criticize Amy fucking Poehler, one of the outstanding feminists and all the great movement who does nothing but to help support young women. But she got final say on that fucking show.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, that's all on her then. Then who gets the target of the blame?
Well, it's just also
comedies shouldn't be taken seriously because they're comedies.
Yeah, well, it's also just sensibilities change over time, and
like a sitcom is literally short for situational comedy, where writers come up with weird situations to put their characters in, and then see how it evolves or devolves for laughter.
Yeah, he brings up another good point about people who say niggardly.
Didn't think you were actually going to say it. Yes, the word. Peter, what's that word again?
Niggardly.
Yes, I'm not going to say it because I stutter a lot, and I don't
know. Maybe I'll cut it if I think.
But no, keep it in. It's fine.
Yeah,
it is a word. It's a word for somebody who's cheap or stingent.
He brings it up how like people attack people for using that word. But he also has a very funny joke about it, just saying like, just use the word cheap.
It's true because it's it's from all ends. If somebody has a rich vocabulary, because again, we're in a hypersensitive time where people are freak out over everything because it might offend somebody. Even though it's the thing of, I think everyone is frustrated with people getting offended for other people without hearing them say it. You know.
I think it was very refreshing that some guy who I think is traditionally seen on the left was doing this special.
Yeah.
Because if this was Nick DiPaolo doing this material, everyone would just roll their eyes. But because it was Aziz,
be a lot more ooze in it.
And also if Nick did it, he'd probably, he would do it with like an angrier conservative slant, which would have defeated the purpose.
For the most part, Aziz is sitting down the entire special too. It's
very bold, in my opinion. Very bold.
Because he's in a massive stage and it's literally just zoned in on him.
Because, you've seen this at open mics before. So many comics try to like sit the stool and work that position. It just never works.
I do that sometimes too. I think it works sometimes.
You have to be very commanding to work the stool.
I think understanding your presence on stage works with the stool.
Like if you have a hard time with your presence already, don't sit on the stool. Yeah, it's not going to help you.
Marin did a special on the stool and I thought it did not work.
Interesting. I haven't seen that special.
It's a couple years old now, but he was 98% on the stool.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
But like, mostly, like Aziz was very interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
And I think if you're interesting to listen to, you can, and you're commanding with it, you can...
Well, yeah, because he's always had a good cultural perspective of a son of immigrants, person of color, but raised in a very white community. Like, that's a unique perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like he brought something in because it finally felt personal for me. Like I feel like he actually had I'm not saying he had that personal experiences, but he really did have just a true he went through something and he wanted to come out on stage and share with others. And I'm sure there's going to be a fuck ton of annoying hot takes and think pieces put out on websites
like ours.
Ours is not hot takes. So this is
I know what you're saying.
We are young comedians who like other comedians.
Yes.
Like I do this because I love comedy. I do. Like I'm talking with Dave again. Enemy of the podcast.
Yeah,
we might cut that.
Enemy of the non-woke.
But we're gonna do another podcast recording together because we both enjoy just talking about comedy on the Big Berry podcast.
Oh, Dave Namery's gonna steal my co-host.
Yeah, I know. I'm in hot demand.
Have to go through Sean's agent if you want to book him on your podcast.
Goddamn right. Big Berry Productions.
I do agree that he was personal. He was more personal in this special. See, the one thing. No, but I can forgive him for this because I think his material was clever. The one thing that I think bothered me about Aziz, like when I started rewatching him after I did comedy for a bit more, was that I think most of Aziz is just like, hey, whoa, and
he brings that energy.
I don't like that energy. I really don't.
I don't like it either. Actually, I find it kind of annoying.
Like that was like the thing about like the one special where I could be like, all right, I still don't like the. I mean, that's his style. I get it, but like, it's just not for me. The one moment that like felt actually very genuine, besides obviously the beginning and ending, was when he talked about talking with your parents.
Yeah,
that was the one time I think he his voice was really deep. He was really in a moment, and he wasn't like.
Yeah, well, like anything, he is a guy. I think he's late 30s now. We're like, yeah, your parents are getting up there in age. I'm not really going through that right now.
Yeah,
but like, it's like, you probably have 20 more years with your parents. I'm like, I probably got about 25 more with mine.
Yeah, and
Well, of course, I'm going to die before them, but that's the whole thing.
I don't remember how that joke ended, but
Well,
I don't.
I don't want to tell his jokes on the pod. I'm just saying, where it's like, I hope if you listen to this, you've already watched the special as well to kind of get our thoughts and reactions to it.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't, go check it out.
But yeah, I also thought the other thing too is just his crowd work was really good.
Yeah,
really good. Was him just that? Yeah, there's a couple people in the front row who were great audience members who were funny. I mean, like they had just enough to be able to make callbacks to things in the stage, and so
you try to get one of the members to say niggardly.
Yeah, which you're not gonna do. You're a big fan of the word.
He also pointed this out, how it's so fun to make white people feel bad. I'm like, I know, right? It's so fun to make white people uncomfortable.
Exactly.
I've been thinking about writing that into a bit recently, but I'm not sure if it's... I feel like it'd be funnier if someone who was a minority said it rather than someone who's a white guy. Like, you ever seen
It is 100%.
Yeah. You ever seen the clip of Samuel L. Jackson trying to bully this reporter into saying the N-word?
Oh my God, I have that. It's so fucking good.
Funny. Like, if you want to know how joyous it is to make white people uncomfortable, go watch that clip where Samuel L. Jackson's trying to make a white reporter say the N-word.
Yeah. Like, fucking classic move is plain and simple. Calling a white person a racist is the N-word for white people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is.
It really is. You can really get under your skin if you say that, even if it's true. Even if it's true. Because the thing is, some people think that I feel like this is what's wrong with people who are like alt-right, or even people who are right a little bit, just anyone who does something racially insensitive. Like, I feel like people think that just because they don't go to Klan meetings or have a burning cross, they can't be racist at all.
Well, yeah, but that's because in the modern age, we're in much more nuanced racism. Like, Klan meetings and, cross burnings are not as prominent, although they're on the rise again, sadly. And that just understanding people's like microaggressions, right? People think that's a trigger. That's a trigger word for left-leaning middle ground people. Is like, every little thing I do, but like, it's just understanding how other people feel about you. It's just, again, I think a lot of life just comes down to respect of like, hey, this made somebody feel uncomfortable, and if they tell you about it, just try and do better. That's all people ask. I'm like, that's why I get upset when people make fun of transgender people's pronouns, and I'm like, they ask, like, this is just who they are. It doesn't affect your life in the slightest, and like, that's just like who they want. That's just how they want to be.
Fuck yeah, Sean. Your woke meter is off
the
chart.
Your
really woke meter is off the chart. How dare you say we're not being woke anymore?
I know. God damn it. This is really going to throw off my persona when I make all my pedophile jokes. People are like, well, he's clearly kidding. It's like my Millie Bobby Brown joke last night. I thought I nailed it.
Nice. Yeah, Sean's just like a plant from the right wing of comedy.
Yeah, I know. I think I can blend into any grouping.
Yeah. Even then, like, I know who you are. Like, I know how you feel about social issues. Like, even still, like, just like watching you talk about like transgender and their pronouns, I'm like, that's really refreshing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like looking at you.
You look at me like that guy's an asshole. Like, that's one of my favorite jokes though. Is like, I tell people I'm a feminist, but you're like, I bet he likes saying cunt a lot. And those things are both true about me. Like, I love saying cunt and I love women.
I do like that joke too.
Yeah, I like that too. It didn't land as well as I wanted to last night.
I feel like people like hear that and they kind of, recede a little bit. But I think it's funny just because, it's fun to say that word, not to be sexist, but just it's a satisfying word to say.
Oh, cunt rolls off the tongue so fucking well. It's so good. All right, I think we kind of that was like 20 minutes on that.
Yeah. Oh man, that was.
All right, everybody listening feeling more woke now?
This episode felt good. I
like this one. This was fun. It was a little different for us. I wouldn't say it was over the top funny, but I think it was interesting.
I thought it was hilarious. that the fact that you were like just willing to lie about your whole comedy career to not tell a joke at a job interview.
100%.
Yeah, this is a great episode, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Anyway,
guys, email us in your thoughts on the new special. We'll read them next week. Everybody actually does that. I think it's really fun. I think we're going to try and do this a little bit more often, like just finding maybe some smaller comedians who have specials.
I definitely want to do smaller comedians.
Maybe some 30-minute, 15-minute specials.
Yeah, half hours.
Kind of look into them.
Yeah.
We're always looking for new segment ideas just to kind of keep the show fresh.
Yeah, and again, if you're from a local comedy scene and you have any funny stories you want to tell us, like the story, or if you have a story like the story we just read about the guy who wanted to do a set at his July 4th barbecue.
Yeah.
If you have any story that you think would be fun for us to read, please send them in at 2micminimum@gmail.com. You can follow 2 Mike Minimum at Instagram and Twitter at 2 Mike Minimum.
Yep.
You can follow me on Instagram, of course, as Westchester Woke Boy, and on Twitter at Clark Deutsch P. You can also type in my full name on either of those and you'll find me.
Yeah, and guys, if you love this podcast but hate Peter, you can follow me at the Big Berry Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and on Instagram, the Big Berry Podcast. You can follow just me on Instagram at BigBerry63. Also, if you're like a promoter or a manager, or you put on your own shows, book Peter and I.
Yeah.
My schedule is pretty clear for these coming months. I'm actually putting on my own show soon, which I don't want to announce quite yet. But this was fun, guys. Email us in. I think we're going to try and do our decathlon at the end of the month. So we'll have some fun videos and some more content for you. Other than that, see ya.
Stay woke.